My Pokemon Red file got deleted, so I decided to film everything this time, or else it basically didn't happen. Because I'm an artist, I designed my own Pokemon characters for this run. We have the main Pokemon Red character, Leo, who we will mostly be following, Daisuke, our Pokemon Blue character, and Tori for Pokemon Yellow. The rules for this run are all Pokemon must be legitimate, no cheats or glitches. I also must beat the Elite Four and catch all 151 Pokemon in all games. Now to get started, I name my character Leo, and I name my rival Bakugo. I get Squirtle, and then my rival Bakugo gets Bulbasaur. I name my Squirtle Bubbles, and now it's time for a fight. So I kick his butt. Use tackle pretty much. You know how it is. Level up. After beating my rival, I head to Viridian City where I catch my first Rattata, my Spearow, Nidoran, and female Nidoran. And also a Pidgey. I trade them to my yellow to get a Ghastly, Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Magikarp. Then I go into Viridian Forest where I find Pikachu and capture him and name him Waffles. Then I catch a Weedle and a Caterpie. Now it's time to fight Brock. Brock sends out Geodude. I send out Waffle but quickly switch to Bubbles. Geodude uses Defense Curl. Bubbles uses Tackle, which does nothing. Geodude uses Defense Curl. Bubbles uses Bubble. Another Defense Curl, another Bubbles, Geodude goes down, Brock sends out Onix, Onix uses Screech, Bubbles uses Bubble, uses Tackle, Bubbles uses Bubble, and Onix goes down. And then I catch a Jigglypuff in the area before Mount Moon, and inside Mount Moon I catch a Zubat, as well as a Geodude. And I also catch Paris, whom I name Mushy, and he joins my team. Then I run into this Clefairy here, which I catch, and also name Pompon. And then I beat the Super Nerd and get the Dome Fossil, so I can get the pre-evolved Kabuto. Then I head straight to fight Misty because all my Pokemon are traded and none of them listen to me. So I have Waffle here use Thunder Shock on Misty Staryu, uses Water Gun, use Thunder Shock again. Of course, it's super effective, takes out Staryu. So I paralyze Starmie here and accidentally use Quick Attack. Starmie uses Bubble Beam, which does quite a bit of damage. I switched to Jimbei to make him, be the sacrifice for Waffle. Because, I gotta heal Waffle because, none of my other Pokemon listen to me, okay? So, Jimbei takes a fall. Waffle comes back out using Thunder Shock. Bubble Beam is killing me here. Thunder Shock again doesn't make it. I get Bumbled Beam. And so I send out Bubbles and just tackle Starmie to death after this. Just doing the best I can. And that's how I beat Misty. So I just immediately evolve Pompon here with the Moonstone I found in Mount Moon. Just, there's no real reason to wait, so... And it comes in handy in our next rival fight with Bakugo. Bakugo sends out his Pidgeotto. I send out Mushy, and then Pompon. And Pidgeotto here is just sends so many sand attacks and gusts at me that it kind of becomes a problem. I just start missing a lot. So I switch to Waffle and start using Thunder Shock. And I keep getting sand attacked, and of course, Quick Attack misses. Sand Attack again misses. Get Quick Attacked. My Quick Attack misses. Get Gust. Finally get a Quick Attack hidden. I sent Mushy out because Abra only knows Teleport, so I just have Mushy just scratch Abra over and over again. because poor Abra is defenseless and Mushy needs to level up. So that's what happens there. And then I try to take out the Rattata with Mushy, paralyzed since Mushy just learned Spore or Stun Spore. And Rattata goes for a Tail Whip and a Quick Attack, which Mushy gets one last scratch in before I switch to Pom Pom. Pom Pom gets Hyper Fanged, but takes Rattata out with a Pound. I send out Sabo, my Charmander. And obviously, Ember is super effective. Vine Whip does basically nothing. And Bulbasaur misses. And Bulbasaur is taken out by Sabo's Ember. And we defeat Bakugo. Then I get an SS ticket from Bill. And this trainer here, Sabo tries to evolve, but I am trying to get him to learn Flamethrower before he evolves, so I don't evolve him. I beat this trainer, and then Jinbei evolves into Gyarados. Pretty rad. And he learns Bite, which is good. And then I catch this Oddish here in the same area. And a Mankey. And then I get the bicycle voucher from this guy after he talks about his, I think it was his Rapidash or something. Then I head over here and catch a Drowsy, which I later teach Flash and use in Rock Tunnel. Then I go inside Diglett's cave and catch me a Diglett with Mushy's help. And then we're on to the SS Anne. So I head in there, I go to my rival fight, Bakugo, and he again sends out his Pidgeotto. I send out Jinbei, Bite, Pidgeotto uses Sand Attack, I Bite, take him out in 2 hits, then Eradicate, Bite him 2, uses Tail Whip, Bite him again, 2 attacks. Kadabra actually disables my Bite, and then I just tackle him. And I tackle him again. And then he's out. 2 hits. Then Sabo versus Ivysaur. Tackle didn't do much. Ember almost takes him out. Got tackled with a critical hit. And out with a 3rd Ember. Bakugo is once defeated again. I get cut from this guy after rubbing his back. And the SS Anne is setting sail. And the next thing I'm going to do is battle Surge. He sends out his Voltorb. I send out Pompon. Voltorb uses Tackle. Pompon uses Seismic Toss. Voltorb uses Sonic Boom. I hate the move Sonic Boom. Seismic Toss again. Almost takes him out. Another Seismic Boom from Voltorb. And I take him out with a Pound. Then there's Pikachu. Pikachu uses Quick Attack. I Thunder Wave him. Which is not something you can do in later gens. Then Seismic Toss him. And then I get Thunder Waved. Now we're both paralyzed. And then I just send out Mushy because why not? He knows Dig now. So I just use Dig on Pikachu. Takes him out. Now it's Raichu's turn. I get Growled. And he's got X speed on Raichu. Mushy uses Dig and takes him out in 1 critical hit. And now we can go into this area here right before Rock Tunnel. I also evolve Ghastly into Haunter, and I evolve Mushy into Parasect. Would you look at that? And now I go into this grass here right before Rock Tunnel and get this Voltorb here. And we go inside. I have that Drowsy from earlier. And I catch this Machop here. And we get past all of that section and head straight towards battling Erika. She sends out Victory Bell right away, apparently. And Sabo doesn't listen to me right now, so he actually uses Rage. And Victory Bell uses Wrap. And I can't really do anything. Sabo's just kind of doing his own thing and building his rage. He won Angie Boy. And the wrapping, it continues. Rage is building up. Another wrap. There's not really much you can do with the wraps. They're quite annoying to deal with, but Victory Bell misses. Sabo gets into the Raging, and Victory Bell poisons Sabo, and then Sabo takes him out. Now we got Tangela here. Rage is continuing to build, but now Sabo's also poisoned. Constrict basically does nothing. More worried about the poison, and Bind doesn't do much, but man, it is looking bad for our boy Sabo. He's getting close to beating Tangela, but he can't move because of Bind, and that poison's just really taking him on. So, oh, Tangela is right there, except for Erika uses Potion and Sabo faints. Then I send out Pom Pom, paralyze Tangela. We got Constrict going on. Use Seismic Toss. And another Constrict. Does hardly anything. And we just take out Tangela with Seismic Toss at this point. Next we got Vileplume, who knows Mega Drain, which doesn't do too much on Pompon. We paralyze him. Seismic Toss, which doesn't do a ton, but it's something. And then another Mega Drain. And another Seismic Toss. Not my favorite move, but it was all I had at the moment. So I got poisoned. Seismic Toss does it. Defeat Erika. Now we're fighting Giovanni in the game corner. He sends out Onyx. I send out Sabo, but I switch to Mushy. I get Rock Thrown, which does quite a bit of damage. But I use Mega Drain after, I got it from Erika, which comes real in handy. Takes out Onyx. Taking out Rhyhorn. And got Kangaskhan, but none of Mushy's moves are super effective. So I use Dig. Kangaskhan uses Comet Punch. He knows Rage, but he misses. I use Dig again. Bite. I use Mega Drain. Get my health back up. Kangas goes for Comet Punch, which pretty much takes out Mushy here. Poor Mushy. I send out Sabo. I get him to use Slash, which is a critical hit. Takes out Kangaskhan. And now he knows Flamethrower. So now he can evolve. So here he is evolving into his Charmeleon form. Yay. I got the Silph Co. Or Silph Scope, whatever. Now we're battling Bakugo again. He sends out Pidgeotto. I send out Waffle. Thundershock him. Takes half his health. He uses Gus. And then I Thundershock him again, which doesn't take him out, surprisingly. Uses Potion, and then I take him out with Thundershock. Then he sends out Gyarados. Thundershock. Takes out Gyarados in one hit. Then we got Growlithe. Thundershock Growlithe. We're just Thundershocking everybody today. He Embers me. I Thundershock him. And he's out with a critical hit. And we got Kadabra. I Thundershock Kadabra too, which doesn't do a whole lot. And then Confusion, so I switched to Mushy. He uses Teleport and Disable. But Mushy uses Cut and almost takes him out. Gets Potioned and then a Cut. And we got Ivysaur. Poison Powdered Mushy. Mushy uses Dig. But he's hurt by Poison. And then Ivysaur tries to Leech Seed me, but it misses because I'm under the ground. And then Poison also evades Leech Seed again. Poison again. Leech Seed evaded again. And then Dig takes him out. And Bakugo's defeated. I find a Cubone while walking around here training. And I catch him. And then I get the Poke Flute. And now I'm taking on the Snorlax. and I catch him very quickly. I go into this grass here and catch a Gloom. And then it's time to fight Koga. So, starting the battle with Koga, he sends out Coughing. I send out Mushy. Mushy uses Dig. Coughing uses Smog but misses. Mushy's Dig hit. Coughing misses his Smog. Mushy uses Dig again. Koga uses X attack, which is going to do absolutely nothing. And then Koga sends out Muck, which uses Poison Gas and poisons Mushy, but Poison isn't going to kill Mushy right away, so he uses Dig. And then Muck uses Sludge, which might kill Mushy right away. And it does. I send out Pompon and Thunder Wave Muck, which paralyzes them, and then Muck uses Minimize. I absolutely hate this move. It makes it so aggravating to hit them once they've used it one too many times. Pompon uses Seismic Toss and misses because Muck keeps using frickin' Minimize. Then Pompon misses again. Now he's using X attack on his Muck, and Pompon misses again. Now Pompon is also poisoned. Pompon keeps missing her attacks. Finally, a Seismic Toss hits, but doesn't kill Muck. Muck uses Minimize again. Pompon finally gets another Seismic Toss in, and Muck is defeated. Now there's another Coughing. Pompon Thunder Waves the Coughing. The poison is still continuing to whittle down Pompon's health, and she keeps missing. Coughing is also missing his Smog. Pompon gets a Seismic Toss in, which does like almost half. And he uses X attack on his Coughing. Pompon uses Seismic Toss and misses. And just missing all around, really. And Coughing's just been paralyzed. She does a Seismic Toss again. And now her health is like really getting low. Smog hits. Pompon Seismic Toss also hits. And he faints. And now there's Wheezing using Sludge, which really gets Pompon down. Pompon is almost dead. And Wheezing uses Self-Destruct, taking Pompon out and also winning me the battle. We're in the Safari Zone now. I catch a Doduo. Then I catch a Execute. And then we head to the fighting gym and get Hitmonlee after beating everybody there. Then we head into Silph building where we fight this juggler, and now Sabo is evolving into Charizard. And we go to battle our rival again, Bakugo. Bakugo sends out his Pidgeot, and I send out Mushy, and I quickly switch to Waffle. Pidgeot uses Withdrawal, which does nothing. Waffle uses Thunderbolt, which almost takes out Pidgeot. Sand Attack misses, and Thundershock takes Pidgeot out. Mushy grows to level 36. And Bakugo sends out Gyarados. Waffle uses Thunderbolt, which takes out Gyarados. Bakugo sends out Growlithe. I switch to Jimbei and use Surf. Growlithe goes down, and now it's Alakazam's turn. Alakazam uses Psybeam, which does quite a bit of damage because it's a critical hit. Jimbei uses Surf. And then Surf again. Jimbei's Surf takes out Alakazam with a critical hit. Now it's Venusaur. And I have Waffle out to paralyze his Venusaur. And Venusaur uses Razor Leaf on Waffle, which gets a crit. And then I switch out to Spooky. And Venusaur uses Vine Whip, which is not very effective since he's poison type. Spooky uses Confuse Ray. And Venusaur's fully paralyzed. And now Spooky uses Nightshade. And Venusaur hurts himself in confusion. Also takes another Nightshade from Spooky. He gets a Razor Leaf in on Spooky, which again actually gets a critical hit this time. Spooky does another Nightshade and takes out Venusaur. And Leo defeats Bakugo. Now I get a Lapras and name her Nami. And now it's time for Giovanni's fight. Giovanni sends out Nidorino. And I send out Mushy. Mushy uses Dig. Guard Spec is used on Nidorino. Nidorino's Poison Sting misses. And Dig takes out Nidorino. Now King Kong is out. He uses Tail Whip but fails. Mushy uses Spore and falls asleep. Mushy uses Cut. And also uses Cut again. I actually really like Spore because it never misses for the most part. 100% accuracy, which is cool. And then Mushy uses Dig, which does a lot more than Cut. And use Cut again. And then Guard Spec is used. Mushy uses Mega Drain, almost takes down Kangaskhan, and he wakes up and gets taken out by Cut. And Mushy goes to level 37. Rhyhorn is out now, and so Mushy just uses Mega Drain, which takes out Rhyhorn immediately. Now it's Nidoqueen, which uses Poison Sting on Mushy, which has a critical hit. Mushy manages to put Nidoqueen to sleep. Guard Spec is used on Nidoqueen. Mushy uses Dig, which does half her health. Nidoqueen wakes up, but Mushy's already underground, and he successfully hits and takes her out. And Giovanni is defeated Roni. And now we have a Master Ball. Now it is time for Sabrina. And Sabrina sends out her Kadabra. And I send out Waffle. I use Thunderbolt. Kadabra uses Recover, which is annoying. Waffle uses Thunder Wave. And Thunderbolt gets disabled, which is unfortunate. So Waffle uses Thundershock, which does hardly anything. Now Kadabra is using Psychic, which does a lot of damage to Waffle. So I switch to Jinbei, which also gets hit by Psychic. And now I use Surf, which takes him out with a crit. Now it is Mr. Mime's turn. Jinbei uses Surf, which almost takes him out. Mr. Mime uses Light Screen, which isn't good. So I use Bite instead, which crits. Now it is Venomoth and Sabo. Sabo uses Flamethrower, which takes Venomoth out instantly. Now it's Alakazam. And Alakazam's Sideways misses. And Jinbei uses Dragon Rage. Alakazam uses Reflect and gained armor. Jinbei uses Surf, which almost takes him out with a crit, and Reflect fails, and Jinbei bites him to death. And then it's time for me to teach Sabo to fly and to evolve my Haunter. So I switch over the Pokemon that I had originally traded to Yellow from to evolve Haunter into Gengar. So that Rattata I had sent to Yellow, I'm sending it back. And so I have Gengar now. And now I'm trading my original Nidoran for my Charizard, so I can have Tori teach Fly to my Charizard, which I am doing here. And I make him forget Ember. Okay, and now I am back on my red, and you can see I now have Spooky as Gengar and Sabo with Fly. So I head down towards Seafoam Islands, and I'm battling this lady here, this beauty. And Waffle learns Thunder, so I decided to evolve him into a Raichu. And there he is. So I make it to Seafoam Islands, and my goal here is mostly to just get to Articuno. I send out Waffle. Waffle uses Thunder Wave. Articuno is now paralyzed. Articuno uses Peck, which is a crit. And then Waffle uses Thunderbolt, which almost kills Articuno. Articuno uses Peck. And then I use an Ultra Ball, which I miss. And then Articuno uses Ice Beam, which almost kills Waffle. So I send out Pompon and catch Articuno. I nickname Articuno Kuno for short. I make it to Cinnabar Island, and then I fly over to Pewter City to get the Amber. So that way I can get Aerodactyl. And then I go to the scientist guy, and I get the dome fossil to be restored. Then I go into the old mansion to get the secret key so I can fight Blaine. So this stupid question up here, does Caterpie evolve into Butterfree? I hate this question because Caterpie actually evolves into Metapod, and then a Metapod evolves into Butterfree. But anyway, I'm battling Blaine now. He sends out Growlithe, I send out Jinbei, and use Surf, and it takes out Growlithe. And Blaine sends out Ponyta, I use Surf. Takes him down easily. Then there's Rapidash, which I just used Surf again. And lastly, Arcanine, and I use Hydro Pump, and he uses Super Potion preemptively, which is silly, and then I Hydro Pump him, and he's dead. And I defeated Blaine, and now I'm back here to get my Kabuto fossil. And I do not name him. And then I give the old Amber to him so I can get my Aerodactyl. And then I head over to Giovanni's gym. With Giovanni, he sends out his Rhyhorn first, and I send out Sabo, which knows Earthquake now, so I use Earthquake to take out Rhyhorn. But it doesn't quite take him out. Rhyhorn uses Stomp, and I Earthquake him again, which this time knocks him out. Then there's Dugtrio. I switch from Sabo to Mushy and use Mega Drain. Dugtrio uses Sand Attack, which lowers my accuracy. And then I just use Cut to knock out Dugtrio. Nidoqueen gets Earthquaked by Sabo. And Earthquake again. Did not get any moves in. Now it's Nidoking. I use Earthquake on Nidoking as well, which does more damage on him. Nidoking uses Poison Sting, which actually surprisingly poisons me this time, and I finish Nidoking off with a Flamethrower. Now it's Rhydon. Ooh, I send Pompon out and use Ice Beam on twice. And Giovanni's defeated. Now it is time for my last rival battle with Bakugo. He sends out Pidgeot. I send out Spooky and use Hypnosis, which hits, and Pidgeot is now asleep, and I use Dream Eater, which does half his health. Then Spooky uses Psychic, which Pidgeot wakes up, and Spooky finishes them off with Nightshade. Now Rhyhorn is out. Spooky uses Hypnosis again, which hits. And then we go for a Psychic, which almost knocks him out, but Bakugo uses a potion, and then Spooky finishes them off with a Dream Eater. Nummy Nummy Dreams. Now there's a Gyarados, and Spooky's hypnosing him. And also goes for Dream Eater on Gyarados. I wonder what Gyarados' dream about. Now Spooky is using Psychic. And Gyarados is still asleep at this point. And so we go for a Nightshade, which surprisingly doesn't take out Gyarados. And Gyarados just wakes up at the last second and is knocked out with another Nightshade. Now we got Growlithe, which we also try to Hypnosis, but that fails. And so we go for a Psychic. Growlithe used Agility. And uses Agility again. Spooky uses Nightshade. And Growlithe gets knocked out. Now there's Alakazam, who uses Reflect. Spooky's Hypnosis failed. Now Alakazam uses Psychic, which isn't good. And almost knocks out Spooky, but Spooky gets in a Nightshade. And fun fact about Gen 1 is they messed up the Ghost typing, so Ghost is not super effective on Psychic in this generation. So Alakazam uses Psychic on Waffle. Waffle's Thunder misses, and so I send out Pompon, who gets Psychicked. I really don't have a good defense against Psychic right now, and Pompon gets Psybeamed, which gets Strengthened though, which gets a crit, almost takes him out. I'm debating here about whether or not I should switch or use Strength. I decided to use Strength and knock out Alakazam. Now we got Venusaur, who used Growth, and I try to use Ice Beam on Venusaur. Switch to Sabo. Venusaur uses Growth again. I use Fire Blast, which surprisingly doesn't knock out Venusaur. Venusaur is surprisingly tanky. And I use Fire Blast again and take out Venusaur. Now, onto Victory Road, I find Moltres. And I send out Waffle and use... I use a move here. Thunder Wave. Took a long time to think about that, I guess. Moltres uses Fire Spin. I guess I was a little traumatized about Articuno almost dying. And I'm trapped in a Fire Spin. Use Thunderbolt. Doesn't almost kill him. Got Fire Spinned again, so I'm stuck in there. And Fire Spin continues. And still going. I get to use Quick Attack here, which does hardly anything. Moltres goes for Peck. I go for Quick Attack again, which gets him down, but I think I can get him a little lower. Peck got a critical hit. I use a potion, or a super potion. I don't know what I used there. A hyper potion. I used a hyper potion. And I use Quick Attack, which gets him down to 1 HP. Moltres uses Peck, And I go for the catch. And I miss. And I miss again. And this time I catch him. And then I name him Blitz. And now it's time for the Elite Four. And as you're seeing on screen, it's all 3 of my games because I haven't beat the Elite Four in any of them. So we're going to do that now. So we got Daisuke in the top corner, Tori underneath him, and then Leo on the big screen. We got Dugong. I got Queen using Thunderbolt on Daisuke, Kiwi, my Persian, using Thunderbolt on Dugong, and Waffle using Thunderbolt on Dugong. Queen takes down Dugong, and Waffle takes down Dugong. Kiwi uses Thunder, but Dugong is hanging on. Now Cloyster is out. Queen uses Thunderbolt, and Dugong is healing himself. Queen uses Thunderbolt again. Waffle is using Thunderbolt. Kiwi uses Hyper Beam on Dugong. Dugong still asleep but woke up. And now Lorelei is sending out Slowbro. Kiwi's still stuck on Dugong using Aura Beam. Then Waffle takes out Slowbro, and I got my Ginger Venusaur taking out Slowbro with Solar Beam. Kiwi is now on Cloyster. Man, we're on Jinx now. I got Ace taking out Thunderbolt. Jinx uses Eye Punch on Sabo. Sabo uses Fire Blast. Jinx is out on Daisuke. I bring out Flareon. Jinx uses Ice Punch. Slowbro's out now on Tori's. And we got Lapras out. I switched to Waffle. Uses Thunder. Now Lapras is out on Daisuke. Ace uses Thunderbolt. Queen uses Thunderbolt on Lapras. Waffle is confused. Lapras uses Confuse Ray. Oh, Lapras uses Hydro Pump on Queen. Now Queen's Thunderbolting him. And Waffle takes out Lapras. Jinx is out on Tori's. And I got Flare, my Arcanine, out using Flamethrower. I send back out Ginger to use Mega Drain on Lapras. Daisuke beats Lorelei. Now we have Flare, level 51 now. Tori sends out Lapras. Lorelei sends out Lapras. Tori sends out Ace, his Pikachu, uses Thunderbolt. Lapras survives and uses Hydro Pump but misses, and Ace is using Thunderbolt again. And Lapras survives again, gets Super Potion, and then Ace uses Thunderbolt and takes out Lapras. And all 3 of them have beaten Lorelei. Now it's time to fight Bruno. Bruno sends out Onix. I have my Dragonite, Blastoise, and Mushy out. Onix is using Rage. Plum uses Surf, takes out Onix. So does Usagi, my Dragonite. Mushy takes out Onix. Now we have Hitmonchan. We got Todoroki using Fly, Divinity using Psychic, and now I got Spooky, who's also using Psychic. Articuno is using Peck. Spooky takes out Hitmonchan. Hitmonchan uses Mega Punch. Now we got Hitmonlee out. Divinity is using Psychic. Bruno sending Hitmonlee on Daisuke and Leo's. Spooky uses Psychic. Todoroki is using Fly. Onix is out now. Usagi is out and uses Surf. Todoroki takes out Hitmonlee. Onix is out. And Usagi has also defeated Onix. I send Mushy back out. He gets Rock Thrown. And Mushy uses Mega Drain and takes out Onix. Now we got Machamp. Todoroki is using Ice Beam on Onix. And Divinity is using Psychic on Champ. And now we have Bruno sending Machamp out on Daisuke and Leo's screen. And Spooky is using Psychic. Articuno is using Fly. They both survive. Articuno takes him out with Peck, and Spooky takes him out with Psychic. All of them have now defeated Bruno. Now, next up is Agatha. So Agatha is sending out her first Gengar. I got Queen, Divinity, and Sabo Divinity uses Psychic, Queen uses Earthquake, and so does Sabo. Gengar uses Substitute, but Queen takes out Gengar. Divinity uses Psybeam. Sabo's using Earthquake. Queen uses Thunderbolt on Golbat. Golbat survives. Gengar faints. Now Agatha has Golbat out on Tori's. Golbat faints on Daisuke's screen. We got Golbat out now on Leo's. Haunter is out. Haunter is being Earthquaked by Queen and Psychic by Divinity. Waffle uses Thunderbolt on Golbat. Golbat survives. Haunter is now out on both Daisuke and Tori's. We got Arbok who's getting Psychicked. Waffle takes out Golbat. We got Arbok fighting Queen. Queen uses Earthquake. Gengar is now out. Divinity uses Psychic. Arbok goes down. Haunter uses Nightshade. And Gengar is using Hypnosis and Nightshade. Mushy uses Dig on Haunter, takes him out. Queen uses Earthquake on Gengar, takes him out. Divinity is confused and uses Psybeam and hurts himself. Arbok is out. I send out Sabo. Divinity takes Gengar out with Psybeam. Sabo uses Earthquake. Arbok misses his glare. And Flamethrower takes out Arbok. Now Leo has to fight the last Gengar, which Sabo uses Earthquake. Gengar uses Nightshade. And there's that Earthquake. And he survives. Agatha uses Super Potion. Sabo uses Flamethrower. He survives a crit. Gengar uses Toxic, but it didn't affect. And Flamethrower takes out Gengar. Alright, now it is on to the fourth member, Lance. Here we go. Lance is sending out Gyarados. I got Queen and Ace, both using Thunder and Thunderbolts. Gyarados goes down on Tori's screen, but Gyarados heals. Queen uses Thunderbolt and doesn't take him out. He survives. Waffle uses Thunder. Ace switches out to Dragonite and who uses Ice Beam. Gyarados goes down to Queen. Dragonair uses Thunderbolt. Lance sends out his Dragonair. I send out Pompon, and Articuno takes out Dragonair with Ice Beam. Pom takes out Dragonair with Ice Beam. Another Dragonair is out. Todoroki takes out with Ice Beam. Usagi uses Blizzard. Lance sends out another Dragonair. Pom uses Ice Beam. Aerodactyl is out. Aerodactyl uses Bite and Wing Attack. Dragonair's user Hyper Beam on Pompon. Plum is out now and uses Hydro Pump. Aerodactyl uses Hyper Beam. Lance is sending out Dragonite now. Usagi uses Blizzard, outspeeds his Dragonite, and beats him. Hydro Pump takes out Aerodactyl, and we have Pom is now confused. Lance sends out Dragonite, and Todoroki is sent out and uses Ice Beam. Dragonite uses Hyper Beam. Pom goes down, and so does Todoroki. I send out Jinbei on Aerodactyl and use Hydro Pump. Aerodactyl uses Bite. Jinbei flinches. Aerodactyl takes down. I got Ginger out and uses Sleepy Powder on Dragonite. Jinbei uses Hydro Pump. Takes out Aerodactyl. Ginger uses Solar Beam, which doesn't do a whole lot. And now it's time for Dragonite again. And I heal Pompon. Dragonite uses Agility. Jinbei uses Dragon Rage. Todoroki is using Blizzard and takes out Dragonite. Dragonite is using Barrier. Jinbei uses Hydro Pump, which doesn't do much. I go for Dragon Rage. Dragonite uses Hyper Beam, which takes out Jinbei. I switch to Pompon and use Ice Beam, or Blizzard, I mean. but it misses, and then I use Ice Beam. He uses Barrier, and Dragonite gets taken out. And Lance has been defeated. Now it is time for our rivals. Bakugo on Leo's screen. We got Kobe on Daisuke's and Rosin on Tori's. We got Queen fighting Pidgeot. Usagi fighting Sand Slash. Queen uses Thunderbolt. Usagi uses Surf. Sand Slash uses Poison Sting. Usagi finishes them off with Surf. We got Pidgeot and Waffle. Waffle uses Thunder. Takes out Pidgeot. We got Kobe sending out Alakazam. Uses Psybeam. We got Alakazam on Tori's screen as well. Queen goes down. Usagi uses Hyper Beam. We got Waffle using Thunder Wave, but gets Psychicked. We got Todoroki out using Fly, gets Psybeamed. We got Executor and Flare out now, Fire Blasting. Todoroki uses Ice Beam, gets Psychicked. Flare takes out Executor. Alakazam is using Psychic on Mushy. Mushy uses Dig. Todoroki is now facing off with Rhydon. Ace uses Thunder on Cloyster. Plum is out on Rhydon now using Surf. Mushy uses Dig. We got Spike Cannon being used and Thunderbolt. Plum takes out Rhydon. Mushy goes down. Ace grows to level 54. And we got Ninetales on the screen and Gyarados. Waffle uses Thunder. Ginger puts Gyarados to sleep. I got Dune out, my Sand Slash. Dune uses Earthquake. Gyarados is asleep and gets Solar Beamed, which is a critical hit. Tails gets restored and Dune uses Earthquake. Jinbei uses Hydro Pump on Rhydon. Ginger Solar Beams Gyarados and he's out now. Dune is stuck in Fire Spin. And we have Ninetales using Quick Attack. Dune uses Strength and finishes him off. We got Gyarados and Arcanine. Plum comes out, uses Hydro Pump. Waffle's using Thunder on Gyarados, takes him out. We got Jolteon out using Pin Missile on Dune. Arcanine goes down to Hydro Pump. Dune uses Earthquake, which takes out Jolteon. Then we got Arcanine out on Leo's screen and Venusaur on Daisuke's. Tori has defeated his rival. Venusaur uses Razor Leaf. Jinbei is using Hydro Pump on Arcanine. Ichigo uses Fire Blast, takes out Venusaur. Jinbei uses Surf on Arcanine and takes him out. And Jinbei grows to level 50. He's got one more Venusaur, which I switch out to Sabo. And use Fire Blast, which surprisingly doesn't take him out. Venusaur uses Razor Leaf, which is a critical hit but doesn't do much. And we finish him off with Flamethrower. And we did it. Sabo grows to level 52. Bakugo has been defeated. So now you get to look at all of the Pokemon I had in blue and yellow. I have 150 or 149 on yellow out of Pokedex, and then on blue it says I completed the Pokedex because I have 150. I don't have Mew yet on blue. There's Pompon, Mushy. I got my Gyarados, Jinbei, and Spooky, and Sabo. And I have 51 right now. So we're going to be doing a lot of Pokemon catching after this. I fly to Cerulean. heal up my Pokemon so I can go catch some more. And I actually use Moonstone to evolve a Jigglypuff, which I realized later that I could just catch Jigglypuff, so, you know. Now I go up past Nugget Bridge to get this Abra here. And I have to trade him later. And then there's this little pond by Bill's that I use to catch this Psyduck here. And I'm also training my Bulbasaur. Also, things start to get a little out of order. So you're going to see Blossom here go from turning into a Ivysaur, then back to Bulbasaur, and then back to Ivysaur. Yeah, that's because it's out of order. Anyway, I catch this Krabby. So here's Blossom evolving. I don't know where she evolved, but she evolved somewhere. Also, I had caught an Ekans early on in the game, but I forgot to record it, so that's just me catching another Ekans. Then I go into Cerulean Cave, get this Dodrio, whatever. And then I'm catching this other Pokemon, Kingler. There's Bubbles. I gotta evolve him into a Blastoise. And I catch Kingler. And then I got this Poliwag, which, by the way, I have to catch 2 Poliwags. Oh, see, there's Blossom again in her Bulbasaur form. So I catch that Poliwag, but I have to catch 2 of them. So this is number 1. And then I catch a Sea King here. But the reason why I gotta catch 2 of them is because 1, I have to get Poliwrath, and then I also catch a Slowbro. But then I also have to get a Poliwhirl to trade for another Pokemon, but I don't remember what Pokemon. Anyway, so this is Hypno that I catch in Cerulean Cave. I'm just kind of catching this Magnemite here too. I have not been to the power plant yet. I kind of just saved that for later. And then we have this Kadabra that I also catch. And then we have Arbok, which is Cobra backwards. And then I catch this Ditto. And then after that I catch this Rhydon. There's going to be a lot of me just being like, I caught this. And then there's this Arbok here, but I don't catch it. Instead, I'm actually evolving a Weedle. And Weedle evolves into Kakuna. And then I immediately evolve it into a Beedrill. Yay. And then I'm catching this Electrode, which these guys are annoying to catch because they self-destruct frequently. But I catch them. And now Bubbles is evolving into a Blastoise. So I could have traded some of these Pokemon from my other games, but I catch this Chansey here. But the reason why I decided to go ahead and evolve them... Oh, I also evolved a Dratini that I get later on. It was a little out of order, but I evolved Kabuto into Kabutops. And I also evolved Mankey into Primate here. This is all happening in Cerulean Cave, by the way. And now I don't remember what I was saying earlier. But I evolved this Ponyta into Rapidash, which Rapidash does not evolve until level 40, so that took me a while. And then I evolved this Meowth into a Persian. Oh, but the reason why I remember what I was saying earlier now, but the reason why I didn't I did start trading Pokemon. I get an Omastar, and so I basically just decided that I wanted to be able to actually be like, yes, I actually got all the Pokemon that I could in the game to make it, you know, more legit, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I get Pidgeotto into Pidgeot. Maybe I did more work than I needed to, but I don't know. I wanted you guys to see the process. And now I am fighting Mewtwo. Well, fighting is kind of loosely termed here because I'm not really fighting him as much as I am just catching him with a Master Ball. And he is caught. So that pretty much almost completes my Pokedex. I still need a few more things. So this is now on my blue game. I'm catching all the Pokemon I need for red. So I catch Sandslash. And then I catch Sandshrew. I always used to think Sandshrew was called Sandshrew. Don't know why. And I'm over here in this area to catch a Meowth, which is the Meowth I evolved earlier, by the way. So like I said, this is very out of order. So I also get a Bellsprout because that's not available in red. And then I go to here to go to the get Weeping Bell. But I also got to go over there to get to the Safari Zone to catch Pinsir, which, mind you, I freaking hate the Safari Zone because catching anything in there is crazy. But I catch a Pinsir eventually. Then I catch this Vulpix, which, by the way, they know Roar, so it's kind of hard to catch them too. And then I finally find this Magmar and catch him, which takes me a hot minute to do because he just doesn't want to be caught for some reason. But I do eventually catch him, as you can see. And then I go to the place where you buy a bunch of stones and I start evolving Pokemon. I evolve Vulpix first into Ninetales. The department store, that's the word I'm looking for. And I evolve Weeping Bell into Victory Bell. I'm always sad there's only one L on Victory Bell. And then this is actually supposed to me pretending to be my blue character buying Dratini because I didn't actually get that footage. So this is actually my red character buying the Dratini. But the Dratini that I evolve into Dragonite is actually the one that I traded from my blue game. Anyway, I get Jackie, my Hitmonchan in yellow, and I also get Aerodactyl and Vaporeon. And now you can see there is a montage of me trading all of these Pokemon to my red, blue, and yellow games. So I'm pretty much covering all my bases here. So I actually do buy Porygon in my Pokemon Blue game. Not the one where Daisuke is in it, but on my fake Pokemon Blue cartridge. So I actually had to play through halfway through Pokemon Blue on my fake cartridge so I could get Omastar on my red because I actually had 2 evolved Kabutops on my blue and yellow game. So that kind of sucked. And up there you can see I'm trading the Porygon around. But actually in the next montage of me trading, you will actually see me buying the Porygon. Which, mind you, buying the Porygon in blue is the best option because it's actually the cheapest on blue. And then also you get Meowth on blue, which has payday. So you can just get a lot more money on blue, it's a little more forgiving. So here's the montage. As you can see, me buying the Porygon on my fake blue. And then, yeah, so the only 2 Pokemon I get from my fake blue are Omanite and Porygon. I didn't want to use that one too much, since it is technically a fake game, but I mean, like, it's like the same thing as if you were playing legit. So I'm trading Sandslash, Alakazam, Vaporeon, Hitmonchan from yellow, and Porygon from red. And then, so I was pretty much missing Porygon on all of my games until this point. And then I have Omastar, Machamp, Persian, Jinx, Dragonite from yellow to red. So as you can see, I did try to like trade them, and then I decided later that like, no, I should evolve all of them and catch all of them myself for some reason. I don't know. Although that doesn't really count for Machamp too much because you have to trade to get Machamp. So it worked out for him. And that's pretty much it for the montage. So now I am in the power plant where I'm trying to catch this Magnemite. For some reason I didn't catch a Magnemite the entire game. But now I have one. And I finally find an Electabuzz and catch him. Finding an Electabuzz is a pain in the butt. And now I am going to fight Zapdos and try to catch him. I send out Sabo, who I use Flamethrower. He gets a crit and also burns him, which is not the best because, you know, there's the risk of him dying. And also, I really wanted to put him to sleep rather than burn him, because when they're actually asleep, you don't actually miss them. But if they're like burned, paralyzed, or poisoned, you actually miss them when throwing, so that kind of sucks. But if you put them to sleep, you're not really going to miss them, which is pretty cool. But anyway, he's almost dead, so I start throwing Pokeballs because I'm like, well, if I don't catch him now, it's now or never, right? But I catch him, thank goodness. And there he is. And I decide to name him Enel as the One Piece reference. And now I'm in Diglett Cave to catch a Dugtrio. I always get Dugtrio and Dodrio mixed up. Okay, now I'm using a good rod behind that old guy who loses his teeth to get another Poliwag. Poliwag or Poliwag? How do you say that? Anyway, so I catch him. And then I have to catch a Goldeen. Which there's that unevolved Bulbasaur again. That's just out of order. No cheating. Now I gotta get Venonat. Look, there, he's an Ivysaur now. And I also catch a Pidgeotto, which you saw me evolve into a Pidgeot earlier. And now I'm trying to catch Eradicate. And I'm training my Poliwag or Wog, however you want to say it now. Because I gotta train 2 of them. And now I'm catching a Fearow. I have only used Fearow once in my life, and I don't think I plan on using him ever again. So now I'm in the Safari Zone. Taking my sweet time for some reason. And here's where I catch this Nidorino. And this Nidorino. And now I have a Rhyhorn that I'm catching. And then I finally found Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan took me the longest to catch out of any of them. Well, except for maybe Scyther. I actually caught Scyther off camera, and then I had to catch him again, so that was kind of annoying. And I honestly caught that Tauros in 1 Pokeball. That was like crazy. Now I am in Seafoam Islands trying to catch a seal. And a slowpoke. And I also have to catch a bunch of other Pokemon here. Like this dugong, who took me forever to find. It's like literally 1% chance you find him. But I catch him. And I have this Horsey. It's really funny to me that you can actually just run into Horsey and Seadras just walking around. You don't even have to like fish for them. You can just walk into them. But I catch them both. And I also end up catching the Shelder. And Staryu. You know, I think I might use a Staryu at some point. And then I catch a Tentacool. Right outside Seafoam Islands. And I'm on Cinnabar Island. And I gotta go to the abandoned mansion, or burned down mansion, or whatever it is, and catch this coughing. And I also catch this wheezing. And I also have to catch this Ponyta, which you saw me evolve into a Rapidash earlier. I think Growlithe in Arcanine is probably one of my favorite fire-type Pokemon. I find myself using him frequently. And I also find this Muck. I think this is like one of my favorite like sprites of Muck. It's just such a dynamic pose for him. And also this Grimer cracks me up. He just looks like he's going wee. Anyway, I go back to the fossil guy and get my Aerodactyl, and then I find this Tangela right outside of Pallet Town. And then I head back up to the Elite Four area so I can go back into Victory Road and catch some more things like this Onyx. Oh, well, actually, I didn't catch him. I'm evolving my Ivysaur into a Venusaur. You can tell this is not scripted. Anyway, I evolved this Tentacool and to a Tentacruel. I like how he's got his arms crossed. And then I finally evolved Poliwag here into Poliwhirl. And I'm only going to show me evolving him once because this video is long enough. Anyway, I catch this Machoke. And then I catch this Golbat. Okay, I have run into so many Golbats in this game. And I just couldn't be bothered to catch him. And then I also evolved this Caterpie. But when I finally went to go look for a Golbat, I could not find him for the life of me. It took me forever. But I eventually evolved this Metapod into a Butterfree. And I also evolved my Psyduck into a Golduck, but I didn't capture me doing that. So here's just like a still shot of him. Okay, and I'm running into another Onix, so I'm assuming this is the one that I'm going to catch, which it is. And then I get this Marowak, which took me forever to find. I like ran into him so much. It's so funny how when you're not looking for a Pokemon, you'll run into him, but when you are looking for a Pokemon, it's so hard to find. Anyway, I catch this Graveler. And then I catch this Venomoth after putting him to sleep. And then I go back to the department store and buy a Water Stone and a few other stones, and I evolve Poliwhirl into Poliwrath. And I also evolve my Shelder. And I also evolve Executor. I almost forget that he uses a Leaf Stone sometimes. And I evolve the Nidorino into a Nidoking and Nidorina into a Nidoqueen. I'm losing track, guys. It's a lot. And I evolve Growlithe into Arcanine. And then Gloom into Vileplume. And then I head over to get my Eevee and evolve it into a Jolteon because I have Flareon on blue and Vaporeon on yellow. And I name him Bolts because I'm original. And I evolve him. I feel like Eevee looks slightly more like a cat in Gen 1. But now I'm also evolving my Staryu into Starmie. And then I go over to this guy to trade my Abra for Mr. Mime. That's who I was supposed to trade Abra for, Mr. Mime. I've never used Mr. Mime, ever. Maybe I should. But I don't know. He creeps me out a little bit. Ash's mom seems to like him though. Then I trade this Spearow for a Farfetch'd. Another Pokemon I've never used. I've never used a Farfetch'd. And then we gotta go up to this guy here and trade a Slowbro for a Lickitung. I feel like that's such a downgrade of a trade. Like, Slowbro is so much better than Lickitung. Well, I've actually never used a Lickitung's evolved form, so I don't know, maybe he's better now. But in Gen 1, Slowbro was better. I get a Jinx because I have to for this challenge. After doing research, it's time to get my Mew. So basically, this guy here on this thread found a Mew, and this is me getting the save file, downloading it, and uploading it into my blue cartridge because the save is only compatible with a blue cartridge. And apparently this is an original Mew from when the Toys R Us 1999 distribution event happened. So theoretically, this should be a legitimate Mew. And you can see this file. Here is the Mew. And this is supposed to be the legit Mew. And you can see this character's name is Ash. But I have some questions about the save file with the 99 Master Ball and 99 Candy. This has definitely been hacked. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the Mew is fake. So we'll just see what happens with that. But I'm deciding to trust it. I go to the Pokemon League to see what Pokemon they had, and it is also glitched out. So that was a little disappointing. I was kind of hoping to know more about this person who has this Mew just, hanging around supposedly. So anyway, this is the most legit I can get without using any cheats or glitches. So I trade Mew for this random Paris that I have. And then, of course, I don't have a video of it, but I trade Mew to blue and yellow, like my blue file and my yellow file. And then I have all 151 Pokemon on all 3 games. And after this, I show off my new Mew. And there he is in all of our glory, his, her, whatever, it. And now it's the time that I've been waiting for. Well-deserved certificate of completion. Which I have honestly never seen before because I have never done this. I always wondered what it was like to come back and talk to this guy. So I talked to him first in blue. And you can see the diploma. It has my little name on it and everything. And the yellow one, I don't know what they did there, but I like the blue and red diplomas better. Yeah, I did it. That's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Bye!